Okay, let's go ahead and get started. This is again Mr. Jesus Lopez. The day is September 29th, year 2006. It is approximately 3:49 Central Time. And today's subject is just a basic 7 to 8 minute overview of parenting. Now, one of the things that I always want to remember, at least when I finish, one of the things that comes to my mind is what is the purpose? See, if you have what you're supposed to have, if you have the necessary skills that you're supposed to have, there isn't a problem. If you're blessed, if you know what to do, great. Nobody's complaining. However, if you find yourself that you're missing some kind of philosophy, ideology, or a road or direction, then this may be able to help you. One of the things that I notice with parents, I think that there's a great amount of individuals who practice screaming, ranting, and raving. They're under the impression because they're the adult, anything that they say, the child should do. And you got to remember that you're dealing with a very, very small person. I mean, I have observed examples of 40-year-old women yelling at the top of their lungs at a 1 year and a half old child. That child has no way of knowing what that adult is asking them, or what that adult is trying to get them to understand. Okay, so what is known about the healthy interaction between parent and child is that it should be pleasant. At a very early age, the child is highly susceptible to environmental information. How loud your voice is, whether they're cold or hot, whether they're clean or dirty, whether they're hungry or well fed. At the beginning of the child, the first months of the child's life, basically the child is concerned about their well, not concerned because they're not thinking, but they're behaving under environmental information. Are there loud noises? Is the room too hot or too cold? So a baby, what you're concentrating on with a baby is keeping things in a normal, non-offensive, non-aggressive terms. But that child grows, and as a child develops, what you as a parent need to do is you need to give that child what that child needs at that point in time of their developmental experience. See? You feed, you clothe, you bathe, you play with in polite, nice tones in your voice, and smiles on your face with a small little child. As the child progresses, you start to teach the child how to socialize, how to interact, vocabulary, and then as the child progresses even further, you gotta have the child understand their environment, where are the limits, what should they be not doing, and then you get into where the child begins to think, and then you start helping the child using their ability to think and learn. Okay, we live in a society, and again, I have observed people who literally parent in what I call parenting at a distance. They look up to where the child is, and if the child is okay, and the child's not hurt, the child's not bleeding, the child's arm isn't on the floor, then the child's okay. That's a very bad practice. You really do need to get involved in the child's life and include the child in the family, in what's going on in the family. You can't be in one corner of the house and the child be at the other corner of the house. Now, the child should have their own space. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a deliberate intent to include the child in what is going on in the home, for the mental health of the child, for the social education of the child, and for your own benefit. I've always said a child that loves the parent, a child that is impressed by the parent, will work to please that parent. Okay? And it does start with formulating a bond. There's a great discussion of children who have by early age gone into daycare and nothing has gone wrong. Well, that's you know, I would say that's wrong, because if you look at our society and you look at how empty and how superficial and how much we pay attention to the things that really aren't good in life, you can see that being apart from the parent at a very early life does have its dramatic effects. And you don't need to be in childcare. You don't need to be in pre-kinder. You don't need to be in being raised by the grandma where the parent works. Any separation from the parent is going to have a negative, drastic effect. And that's not to go start running around saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. It's just to get you to understand you need to interact with a child, and you need to interact with a child in a pleasant way. You need to laugh with a child. You need to tickle the child. You need to be a pleasant. People take for granted that they're dealing with another person, and they're dealing with another person at a different intellectual, a different social, a different emotional understanding. This child is not you. Okay? And then I already spoke on, the child does develop. We forget that. You're not going to tell a 2-year-old what you would tell a 10-year-old. And you're not going to tell a 10-year-old what you would tell a 17-year-old. Okay? Now, there's a big question as to how do you go about knowing what to tell the child? Well, engaging the child in conversation and letting the child talk. See, one of the things a lot of people don't know is children love to talk. And some people do know it and they don't like it. But the reality is, if you want to know what's going on in the mind of a child, if you want to know what's going on in the heart of a child, the best way is to let them talk. See? And they will tell you what they think. And then when they tell you what they think, you correct what needs to be corrected. And you don't over-embellish in something that doesn't need to be over-embellished. See? There's no need to go into the intricacies of sexual intercourse with a 7-year-old. And you would be surprised at the parents that would do just that. Okay? So parenting at a distance is bad. You have to include the child. You have to know where the child is. The child has to know where you are. You need to formulate a relationship with the child by interacting with the child and interacting with the child in a very pleasant manner. You need to understand that the child is developing at stages. Okay? The first stages is forming the bond with you. From birth. Literally from birth through their, let's say, their first 18 months, it's important that they like you, that they trust you, that they know that they can count on you for their security, that you're there to protect them, and that you love them, and that you're a pleasant person to be around with. You're a person who makes them laugh. You're a person who makes them feel good about themselves. And that's all. That's when it starts. It starts at the beginning, but it never stops. But that's your primary responsibility with a 1-year-old. Okay? To feed and to clothe and to clean and to keep warm or to keep cool, depending on the environment, and to keep harsh noises, harsh lights, even bitter taste. Anything that can upset the child, you really should try to avoid. And then the child starts growing and starts learning and starts hanging out with other people, and you come into the importance of socialization, what is appropriate, what's inappropriate. And you're going to have, after 10 years of age, I would probably have to do a complete hour video blog on just what it is you're telling a child that can think at your level. I do believe that at 10 years of age, the child begins to grasp very complex ideas. I know for myself, that's when I started thinking in complex ideas, in human psychology, in ideas of science, in interpersonal relationships. And then that's when you always let the child lead, see? And for those people, again, in closing, for those people who have it, who understand it, great for you. Nobody's going to pick a fight with you. But those people who are struggling, these aren't hard ideas. Really, children love to play. Children like to feel good. Children like to have the people around them like them. Children work at having the people around them like them. See? And it's unfair to the child to push the child away. Again, thank you for listening. I wish you well.